For those of you joining us online, Councillor Knack, can you hear us?
I can hear you now.
Okay. We have some sort of Monday morning error, so we're just going to reset here. So if everybody just hangs tight. Good morning. We're live from Council Chambers, and we believe eScribe is back up and running, as well as the meeting. We're good to go, Mayor Sohi.
All right, good morning, everyone. I would like to call this meeting to order and acknowledge that at this time, I would like to acknowledge that we meet on the traditional land of Treaty 6 territory and Métis homelands, and acknowledge the diverse indigenous peoples whose ancestors' footsteps have marked this territory for centuries, such as Cree, Dene, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Lakota Sioux, as well as now Métis and Inuit, and now settlers from around the world. Roll call. I will do a roll call of council members. Councillor Knack, Councillor Wright.
Good morning.
Councillor Knack.
Good morning.
Councillor Principe.
Good morning.
Councillor Stevenson.
Good morning.
Councillor Paquette.
Good morning.
Councillor Tang.
Good morning.
Councillor Hamilton.
Good morning.
Councillor Rutherford.
Good morning.
Councillor Salvador.
Good morning.
Councillor Cartmel.
Good morning.
Councillor Rice.
Good morning.
And Councillor Jans.
Good morning.
All right, so everyone is here. Adoption of the agenda. Councillor Hamilton.
Yeah, I'll move adoption of the agenda for the Special Emergency Advisory Committee meeting today.
Okay, need a seconder.
Second.
Councillor Rice seconded, please
So just
vote.
a friendly reminder, we're at committee.
Oh, we are committee, yes, so no seconder required, okay. All right, so please vote.
I'm a yes.
I'm a yes.
Thank you, Councillor Principe. Thank you, Councillor Jans.
I'm a yes too.
Thank you, Councillor Tang.
I am also yes.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Hamilton.
I'm a yes. Whoops, there it's submitted.
Thank you. Let me just,
Sorry, I'm also a yes. It's spinning on my end.
yeah, we're just sending it out. We've got all the votes. Thank you.
Display the votes, please. That is carried. Approval of the minutes, Councillor Knack.
Thank you, Mayor Sohi. I'll move the approval of the minutes from the January 25th, 2023 Emergency Advisory Committee meeting.
Okay, any errors or omissions? Seeing none, please vote.
Yes, for me.
Thank you, Councillor Tang.
Yes, for me as well.
Thank you, Councillor Jans. Thank you. We have all the.
Display the votes, please. That is carried. Any protocol items? See none. Select items for debate. We only have one item, so someone want to select that? Councillor Principe, you want to select that 3.1?
Sure, thank you. I will select item 3.1.
Thank you. All right. Votes on the reports not selected for debate, none. Request to speak, none. Request for specific time on agenda, none. Public reports. Our first item, 3.1, Emergency Management Agency Update Verbal Report. And I will go to our city manager.
Thank you very much, Mayor and members of the Emergency Management Committee. Today, we're here to give you an update on the city's work in responding to a significant number of wildfires. City manager also serves as the director of the Emergency Management Agency, and I'm here in that capacity this morning, which is the city's multi-partner task group with coordinated emergency response. Joining me here at the table is our acting fire chief, David Lazenby. We've also got members of the executive leadership team and the city solicitor available. I have three general updates this morning. First, an update about the state of the provincial wildfire situation, relaying information from the government of Alberta. Second, an update on the work being done by the City of Edmonton across our fire, human services, and emergency preparedness activities. And then third is an update on other Emergency Operations Center activities, both to highlight that services continue to be supported and to flag some limitations. As of this morning, the Alberta government indicates there are 105 wildfires burning. Of those, 59 are under control, 27 are out of control, and 19 are being held. 10 of the fires were caused by lightning, 15 were caused by people, and the cause of the remainder are still under investigation. A provincial emergency coordination center has been stood up and is bringing provincial agencies together, and the city is collaborating with the province through this center. While the center is involved in all incidents, the province is putting a particular focus on Athabasca, Beaver Lake Cree Nation, Big Lakes County, Bighorn Reserve, Brazeau County, Edson, Fort Vermilion, Fox Creek, Grand Prairie, Grizzly Complex, Lac St. Anne, Little Red River Cree Nation, Ochese First Nation, Peavine Métis Settlement, Rainbow Lake, Shining Bank, Sturgeon Lake Cree Nation, Whitefish Lake, and Yellowhead and Parkland County. Evacuation orders have been issued for a number of communities. In total, about 29,000 people are under an evacuation order throughout the province, including residents in or near the communities of Boyer, Drayton Valley, and Twistle, Fox Creek, Grand Prairie, High Prairie, Little Smoky, Paddle Prairie, Peace River, Rainbow Lake, Sturgeon Lake, Valley View, and Whitefish. And of course, some of those change minute by minute. Evacuation alerts have also been issued for a number of communities, meaning people have been instructed to prepare to evacuate, and that includes taking actions like assembling food, medicines, and important documents, packing, and so on. Generally, local authorities and First Nations are responsible for managing emergencies within their jurisdiction. They may ask provincial support from government for assistance. In turn, the province may also ask for federal government assistance. When the provincial government needs to go beyond regular operations, it may declare a state of emergency, and the declaration is issued by the provincial cabinet. Although there is a provincial election underway, the provincial cabinet and the premier continue to hold their positions, and Saturday the premier announced the declaration, and it is in place for 28 days, although it could be ended earlier should the provincial cabinet so choose. The declaration gives the provincial government additional authorities, including the authority to direct local authorities. And let me provide a few additional details. Once the emergency has been declared, the minister has additional authorities. And to be clear, the minister could do these things, and we have had no indication that many of these possible actions will be taken, just that they are possible, as many of these actions were not taken when other provincial emergencies were declared. And the list you see on the screen is the list that comes directly out of the legislation in terms of possible actions. And of course, the first one is a good example of what is being implemented, which is requiring emergency plans. Of course, we have a city emergency plan and we're implementing it as we speak. Now, this order does not automatically provide a funding source for dealing with the emergency, nor does it automatically ensure federal financial support or assistance. There are different mechanisms for those things. For example, the province has already got additional wildfire fighters from Ontario and Quebec, and that has been done through the Canadian Interagency Mutual Aid Resources Sharing, or MARS agreement, which outlines 3 categories of resources: equipment, personnel, and aircraft for wildfire fighting. So that all happens regardless of a declaration being made or not. Edmonton has provided equipment and personnel to some of our regional partners, including Parkland County and Twistle, Yellowhead County, and Strathcona County, and these partners have expressed great appreciation for the assistance that the city has provided. The city is also providing direct support to people who have been evacuated from their home communities. At the request of the Alberta Emergency Management Agency late on May 4th, the city is supporting a wildfire evacuation in Brazeau County and Drayton Valley, and a state of local emergency has been declared and residents in the area have been ordered to evacuate. The city set up the evacuee reception center in the Edmonton Expo Center, and the city's work includes making a physical space available and providing on-site services for people. So far, the Emergency Reception Center, 1,794 evacuees have been registered, 1,300 pets have been registered, and on average we have about 40 people staying overnight. We do see a large uptake of activity at meal times and throughout the course of the day as evacuees who are staying elsewhere do return for meals and services to our evacuee center. The Edmonton Reception Center is for residents of Drayton Valley and Brazeau County. However, we have not turned away individuals from other communities under evacuation orders who have showed up in need of assistance. I'll provide a bit more information about the services that are being provided, but an important point to note is how quickly we were able to deploy with our city emergency support response teams. And these consist of several hundred employees from across the city who are trained and ready to deploy for these types of situations. And I'm incredibly proud and thankful to them for taking on this role and being dedicated to their city and those who need help from outside of Edmonton. Now, when an evacuee arrives at the Edmonton Expo Center, they are registered and given a green wristband which allows them continued access to the center and services. If they have pets, those are also registered, and there is a separate area for pet boarding. There's also an option for mobile registration for evacuees who don't need any services but would still like to register into the system to get other updates and information. Evacuees are then directed to an area which supplies which supplies essentials such as clothing, bedding, and toiletries. And if people have been evacuated quickly, they may not have been able to grab those essentials, so there are kits available depending on their needs. A cafeteria is set up providing 3 meals a day. Although there are relatively few individuals staying overnight, many evacuees use the center for meals. There's also Wi-Fi, internet, activities for children, and some televisions and other amenities. There is places for people to park their trailers if they want to live in their trailers. And of course, you can watch the Oilers playoff game also at the evacuee center. The YMCA has offered evacuees free use of showers and recreational facilities, and at this time we are offering evacuees access to Commonwealth Recreation Center for showers, and there is an ETS transit shuttle available to get individuals between the Expo Center and the Commonwealth facility. AHS is on site with mental health services and is has a prescribing pharmacist on site as well. And several insurance companies also have tables to assist their policy holders with claims. There are cots set up for everyone requiring lodging. The cots are grouped by family and gender and with or without pets. Most evacuees are staying with friends or family or in hotels. The Red Cross has also been on site since Saturday morning. They are arranging lodging at area hotels. And of course, with the concert and hockey games, hotel scheduling has been somewhat complex this past week. Worth noting is the Expo Center is continuing to operate its normal programming this weekend. In addition to hosting the reception center, they also had a trade show and a dinosaur exhibit open to the public, and they opened the dinosaur exhibit to some of the evacuees for use as well. On Sunday, the location of the current reception center is in transition to move to a different hall, which will provide greater space. It's a larger and provides greater ability to scale, so we're ready to meet any additional needs that may come forward. And I do want to, at this time, thank Tracy Bednard, the CEO of Explore Edmonton, and her entire team at the Expo, who have really been just stellar in their support for standing up and using that facility. Edmontonians are so generous and willing to help their neighbors in times of need, and many have stepped forward to offer donations. While we thank Edmontonians for their generosity and goodwill, the city is not able to accept donations at the Edmonton Expo Center, where we've really got to focus on supporting the evacuees. As of yesterday, we had more than 1,300 pets register with the center, and anyone looking to donate pet food or supplies is invited to take that donation to the Edmonton Humane Society, who will receive it. And we do know that the Red Cross is accepting donations, and the Edmonton Food Bank is always in need of food donations. So that's where we would recommend people provide their generosity. The city has established an incident command center at the Expo Center on Friday to lead the efforts of this emergency and direct the operations of the Emergency Reception Center. This has been in operation around the clock since Friday. The city's Emergency Operations Center has also been activated during each of the Edmonton Oilers playoff games, both home and away games, and staff from across the organization are supporting the family-friendly events in Churchill Square, traffic management, transit service, downtown cleaning, and other work to keep the city safe and vibrant. I'm making some reference to the playoffs because there are times when two incident response centers are operating concurrently, and this has an impact on resources, but we're managing at this point. Now, these actions are important for the city, for our regional partners, and for Albertans who are going through a traumatic experience, and we're proud to do them. However, these actions are not free. Internally, administration has initiated financial tracking and is setting up specific codes for overtime, purchases, and other expenditures. And we're working with city partners to ensure that costs from other municipal partners are also carefully and diligently tracked. The information from this tracking will be required for any future financial claim to the province, which we will make. In other crises, the province has approved a disaster recovery program. We anticipate that Alberta will establish the program in this case, but we appreciate that for now, the primary focus needs to be on dealing with the fires and the people who need support. And when the time comes, we will have the appropriate paperwork, accounting, and documentation in place, ready to ensure that we get those resources paid for. Now, this has been a busy week, and city staff have really stepped up to meet community needs. The timeline for the past week is on the screen. From a local fireman to shared equipment, opening Expo, and seeing the provincial response increase significantly in size. And while we cannot foresee the week ahead, I want to assure you that staff are ready to continue these services for as long as they are needed. And I was incredibly grateful again for the rapid deployment of the ESRT. I think we gave the order at 2 o'clock in the morning, and within 2.5 hours Friday morning at 4:50, they were up and running and ready to receive people, and that's pretty agile. So really pleased with that response. Now, as councillors know, one of the roles of this committee is to determine whether a state of local emergency is warranted, and that declaration requires a motion to be passed, and it is in effect for 7 days, and it can be renewed or cancelled. A SOL gives the city authorities to do many of the things that the provincial government can do under its declaration, i.e. pull resources, assign them as needed, and restrict movements. At this time, it is my advice that a declaration is not warranted, as there are no powers enshrined in a SOL that we require at this point in time. Right now, Edmonton's fire risk is at a level that can be managed by Edmonton Fire Rescue Services. We have agreements in place for our regional partners to provide mutual aid when needed, and the provincial government's current authorities means process are in place to sign them where they are most needed throughout the province. We'll continue to monitor the situation both within the city and beyond, and should we see the need for a state of local emergency, that can be declared, and we would ask the committee to reconvene as soon as possible. The committee does require 24 hours notice to reconvene for a meeting, but if the purpose of the meeting is to consider a declaration of a SOL, we can reconvene the committee on 1 hour's notice. So there's lots of time to do this if we need it, but again, at this point, it's not recommended. And with that, we'd be happy to take any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the update, Andre. Before we go to questions, I just want to convey on behalf of City Council the deepest appreciation to the city staff. It's so impressive to see that we have people who have their regular day jobs, but also trained to respond to these kind of immediate crises. And what we saw on Sunday when we visited, that there was such a sense of pride among city employees that they were able to do that, and that preparedness is so important. and demonstrated that how quickly you were able to mobilize those resources. So really want to thank you and your team and all of our city employees and Explore Edmonton as well, right? And because they were partners in this. And quickly on the regional stuff, my office and I have been in touch with Mayor Gamble and Mayor Frank and Mayor Dodds from the Drayton Valley, and we're in regular touch whichever way we can help, right? So, I think our city is responding the way we need to respond in stepping up for our neighbors and being there for them in time of need. Yeah, good. All right, questions, Councillor Wright?
Thank you very much. And yes, and thank you for how quickly everyone acted, and Andre, for your availability on the weekend as well for answering questions. So back in 2016 with the Fort McMurray fires, I was working for a regional MLA, and Member Cortez Vargas had me go out to area or local hotels just to sort of see what other supports that they needed. And one of the things was like the meals, and I know evacuees can go back to the Expo Center, but I was approached over the weekend by Mr. Sharma, who's with We Together Strong, a mutual aid organization or collaboration of groups, and wanting to offer meals. And I'm wondering if that can be maybe something delivered to the hotels, if that's, and also I think there was toiletries and things like that as well that they had prepared.
Yeah, I think I've got some folks working on that, and we can certainly get in touch with them directly and let them know if we can help them coordinate that. From a hotel perspective, we do see the Red Cross in charge of that, but we can certainly chat with them and see if there's any additional supports that would be required. So for sure, we always willing to entertain those kind of opportunities.
So can Mr. Sharma connect with you after the?
Absolutely.
Yeah? Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. And then with the pets, the 1,300 pets, they're temporarily housed at the Expo Center?
1,300 are registered.
Okay.
Because we want to help people track those. Right now, last night there were about 4 or 5 pets that spent the night, and so people can leave their pets at the reception center if they choose to, and we have an on-site kennel for that. Or some people are choosing to use the dorms that allow pets to be there, and some are taking them to hotels or family where they are. But they're 1,300 registered, only about 4 or 5 overnight on site that we're in charge of.
Okay, and then the food and that you said can be dropped off at the Humane Society, right?
Correct, yeah, they are accepting food donations and we're getting lots of those, so.
Okay, and thank you for your quick action on helping Strathcona County out. It was great to hear, and that fire went out, I think, around our Dawson pretty quickly, so
Yeah,
thank you.
and I do think it made a difference, that support, so,
Yeah,
thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Councillor Stevenson?
Yes, thank you so much. And again, just want to echo the gratitude for the incredible work that's happened over the past few days. Just wanted to understand, what are the most important messages that we can help to amplify through our channels? To Edmontonians, I'm assuming certain information about the fire ban, information about donations, anything else that we can really help get the word out about?
Yeah, Councillor, I think the other message, and I'll talk about this at our press summary, is that government carries on. We've got good government continuity. We're still doing a whole bunch of things. There's announcements going out today where we're getting ready to host folks in Churchill Square for the game tonight, and garbage continues to be collected, and buses are running, and so there's I would say that's another important key message, is that there's lots of stuff that the city continues to provide and will provide throughout this, and so that's working well. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. That's everything from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stevenson. Councillor Principe?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And also I want to say thank you. Thank you for your leadership in this. I feel very safe and confident. Thank you very much for taking care of us. The Jewish Federation asked me if there was anything they could do, and one of the things that they'd mentioned as well is cooking food. You know, different cultures have different dietary needs. Is there anything, and that was one thing that they had offered to do, was some cooking. Is there something that they can do? that you can suggest?
We can certainly take a look at it, Councillor. But I don't think anything immediate required, but we can take a look and we can get in touch with them. And what we'll do, I would say, with any agency or organization who is willing to help, we can provide contact numbers for them to, because we do have a sort of social support network as part of our emergency response, and there are ways to tap into those resources. So I would say for now they can get in touch with my office and we can direct them to the right place and see if there's possibilities for helping. Yeah.
Okay, great. That's it for me. Thank you again.
Thank you, Councillor Principe. Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Mayor Sohi. Thank you, Andre, and for your leadership and really demonstrate our steady support to our regional partners. And I have two questions. The first question, do we have any specific plan in place to ensure the local city, like our Edmonton city's fire risk to be responded if something happened?
Yeah, I would say, Councillor, that the most important thing we've done is the fire chief has imposed a fire ban. And I would say in terms of sort of bylaw enforcement, we've made it clear that's number one for enforcement right now is the fire ban. And unfortunately, we are having to enforce that a lot. We're trying to get the word out, but we're still catching people with open flames. And so, you know, I think the big appeal to citywide would be to please respect the fire ban. It's for our safety as a city and for all of us, and we really like to ensure that is done. Otherwise, I'll just see if the acting fire chief wants to comment. But I think we have the resources in place across fire halls. They've responded well to the grass fires we've had, and I don't know if you have anything to add, David. Yeah, right here.
Good morning. This is my first time at committee, so lovely to see you all today. I think the key thing is, as the city manager said, you know, kind of enforcing the fire ban and kind of encouraging your friends and neighbours to make sure that they are complying with it. In terms of the response regionally that we've made, we always ensure that the people of Edmonton are taken care of first. You know, if we have a significant volume of calls, then we filter that through as to whether we can support our regional partners. So people can be reassured that we make those decisions kind of wisely. And, you know, we proudly can say that we've been able to support 3 of our regional partners while at the same time keeping the people of Edmonton safe.
Thank you for that. And specifically, I would like to highlight the River Valley system and also our cities, cross cities, are mainly like revenge system. And then how we pay close attention to those places and to ensure the fire risk and minimized.
Yeah, certainly, Councillor. We have a close eye on the River Valley because that's always of great concern and it's a great treasure for the city. But again, we feel we have good coverage. Number one thing Edmontonians can do is to respect the fire ban or report, be our eyes and ears. If you see something that is not consistent with the fire ban, or if you see a spark, please report it, because the sooner we can get to it, the better chances we have of keeping it under control.
So I'm wondering because many neighborhoods cross city and is nearby, just the link to the revenge system and in the neighborhoods. Is there anything we could do and to really increase that public awareness during this time and to protect our revenge system not be fired?
We're getting as much communication as we can out on a daily basis, and we'll just continue to reinforce that communication. But certainly if councillors can amplify that, it's really appreciated, and we'll just keep on focusing on getting the word out.
Okay, that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rice. Councillor Salvador.
Yeah, thank you so much. And again, would just echo my thanks to Andre and all city staff for the rapid response we've been able to deploy. Maybe just one additional question. Looking at the forecast, are we expecting and anticipating things to worsen? I did see there was mention of a heat dome that's sort of on its way, and it sounds like our ability to rapidly respond and adapt to those changing conditions is there. Is that my understanding? Is that correct?
Yeah, our ability to rapidly respond is there, Councillor, but I do not see good news in the weather in the immediate future. It's going to get hot again this week. We're not expecting a lot of rain. So again, this reinforces how important following the fire ban is to Edmontonians. It's for our own safety. And so, yeah, the weather is not, I would say, in our favor over the next few days, as far as I can tell. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll help amplify that messaging to Edmontonians and beyond. But again, thank you so much. Really appreciate this.
Thank you, Councillor Salvador. Councillor Tang.
Yeah, thank you. And Andre, I don't know if I missed it, but do we also deploy some fire services unit outside of the Edmonton as well?
Yeah, we have deployed fire services to Entwistle. We've deployed them as part of the Parkland County request, and we have deployed them Friday night for several hours to Strathcona County because there was a fire about 2 kilometers outside of the city, and so that was a very successful deployment with Strathcona County. So so far those are the two. And Yellowhead County is the third, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, and also just to echo on my colleagues, just how swift that has been, and incredibly impressed and thankful. I had a similar question as Councillor Salvador about the news, because the weather forecast is also includes thunderstorms and lightning, but not much rain, you're saying.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I would say the weather forecast is not favorable for us. Often those thunderstorms can cause other fires. So what we really want is lots of rain without the lightning. But we don't see a lot of that in our forecast. So.
But I imagine that we are going to be ready for that when the time comes. And I was just a question about the financial cost recovery. You had mentioned the disaster recovery program. Is that a provincial program under the Emergency Management Act?
It is indeed, yeah.
Okay.
And typically in events like this, we would anticipate it'll be created. There have been no formal announcements, but again, that is very typical at this stage of an emergency, that we would see it come forward later. But there are two parts to that system. There's a provincial DRP plan, and then there's a federal plan that kicks in as well. And it's kind of done in collaboration through the Alberta Emergency Management Agency. So we're very familiar with the processes, which is why we started documenting everything we're doing and making sure that we can be part of that system.
That's great, thank you. And then just on the fire ban enforcement, can you just talk me a little bit about the stats? How many are we dealing with? Are we seeing sort of a downward trend as more messages are getting out?
I don't have those readily available. I'll just see if anybody from Community Services has that. We can get that information for you. We don't think we have it readily available here.
Yeah, because when you said that you had to enforce quite a lot, that is concerning. And
it is indeed, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be sure to keep emphasize those messages. Those are all the outstanding ones I had. Thank you very much for all your work.
Thank you, Councillor Tang. Councillor Wright.
Sorry, I just had one other quick question. I think the Premier announced the emergency financial supports. I think like what was done in the Fort McMurray fires, where people were given debit cards and that doesn't come into or doesn't take place until 10 days.
Yeah, that's correct. In the programs we've seen before, Councillor, it something that, like, if you're evacuated for 10 days or more, that those kind of supports can start to kick in, and I have heard that there's been discussion about that, but and that is fully a provincial program to put out and run. But so I would anticipate that, because it's been done in every emergency since Slave Lake, but I don't think we've seen any distribution of cards at this point yet.
Okay, and that's 10 days from the date that they declare the emergency, or?
It's usually associated, in the past, it has usually been associated with evacuation. So day one would be the day you're evacuated, and then if you remain evacuated, if you're under a mandatory evacuation order for 10 days or more, then some supports will kick in. But
okay, so those from like Entwistle and those areas that were evacuated over a week ago, they could get those supports earlier?
If it's 10 days, but so for example, I understand that Edson was evacuated, but now that evacuation has been rescinded, so there would be no sort of financial supports kicking in for those folks, because it was about 2 or 3 days. So it does depend on the duration of the mandatory evacuation.
Okay, thank you very much.
I think part of that, what we heard on Sunday, that Red Cross was providing access to hotels, and they pay for 2 days, but they extended that for 7 days out of their own resources, right? So there's that support available for people who are staying at hotels, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, got it. Okay. Councillor Jans?
Thank you for this, and thank you to everybody. I'll echo the comments about gratitude to the city team and Andre for your leadership in stepping up and moving this forward quickly. I was wondering, have we had any word from our members of parliament or from the federal government in terms of support?
We have not directly that, and we normally wouldn't have that directly. I'm feeling very confident that the province is talking and briefing the federal government. So not directly, but it would. I'm confident that those conversations are happening between the province and the federal government.
Excellent, great to hear. Just wondering if given the additional resources as well as the heightened concern around fires and the fire ban, are we going to have a chance to discuss or reassess or do we need to related to our plans regarding encampments in the River Valley and just some of the measures there?
Yeah, we're definitely taking a look at that, Councillor, and in fact, Fire has been great at actually working with some of those in encampments and doing fire safety and trying to encourage folks to again observe the fire ban because that is the law. So I think good communication with social sectors who are dealing with encampments and our own encampment team is part of this, and making sure that we do our best to follow the fire ban, obviously. So that is happening as best we can.
Okay, thank you. That's all for me.
Thank you, Councillor Jans. Councillor Rice?
I just have a very quick follow-up question because my office received some phone calls from constituents who live close to the river valley and river system. And so is the city has any plan to clean up bushes? And is it river valley and revents or any fire break system?
There are no plans to do a large fire break system right now in the River Valley, but as part of the spring cleanup, we do do a lot of cleaning up of brush where we can. So we've done some of that, I would say, but there are no different plans other than some of the cleanup that we've been doing in the spring.
So in terms of resources and for fire services, and do we face that challenge for the resources available to help implement this emergency response?
No, I believe we're able to deal with this currently with the resources assigned, Councillor.
Okay, thank you. Wonderful.
Thank you, Councillor Rice. On the staff that you were able to mobilize, Andre, recognizing that these kind of events are becoming more frequent, whether fires, floods, or heat waves, and our climate is changing, so we need to adapt, right? So as part of that adaptation strategy, are we providing kind of ongoing training to the staff to be have their skills kept up to readiness?
Yeah, absolutely, Mayor. We do training, and as new volunteers sort of volunteer for that program across the city, we train them. I would say the interesting thing about the last 4 days is it has pretty much played out exactly the scenario we were planning for our emergency management exercise in September, sadly, with the heat and the heat domes combined with wildfires close to the city. So that's exactly what we were proposing for an exercise this September as a part of our emergency management. But that is another opportunity for the city staff to train on these events. So we'll continue to update that training. And as you know, our plans were to do a climate emergency in terms of emergency management scenario, which looks a lot like the last 3 days. So we might have to come up with different ideas because it looks like we're living part of that right now.
Right. Unfortunately, and so we were still planning that September event, right?
It's required, and as we've briefed the committee before, we haven't had We had not done a big exercise in a few years because of COVID, so we really want to do that, and we'll commit to doing that in September. But, you know, depending on how the next few weeks go, we might change the scenario to something else. But we'll see.
Right, yeah. Okay. And once things get better, hopefully, right, if there's a way to kind of give some special recognition for the staff who are out there, right, and that'll be nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can maybe have that conversation offline. I think it's very important that we do show our appreciation in a tangible way, right, to the employees who are going beyond their duties and stepped up, right, to take this training and be ready to respond to these kind of crises. Good. All right. Okay, so that concludes the questions. Councilor Principe, you want to move the report for information?
I'd be happy to move the Emergency Management Agency update for information.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion on the floor. Anyone to speak? Seeing none, so we're ready to vote? Yeah, okay, please vote.
We have all the vote.
Display the votes, please. That is carried. Private reports, none. We are adjourned at 9:39.